Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the GDQ Hotfix. Today is our second day of the Yakuza Community Showcase. We are showcasing a bunch of different games and runners from the Yakuza series. Before we get into it, just a few quick reminders. Flame Fatales is Games Done Quick's all-women online speedrunning community. The upcoming event, Flame Fatales, will run from August 13th to 20th. The schedule is now out over at gamesdonequick.com. And if you're interested in submitting a prize for the event, you can use !FF in Twitch chat, and you can submit your prize over there. The last day to submit prizes is going to be August 6th. Also, Games Done Quick is hiring. If you have experience in website design and development and would like to help overhaul our website, or have experience in social media creation and want to help out at our live events, be sure to go to gamesdonequick.com/jobs to apply. With all that said, we've got Yakuza 4 starting off our event today. I will hand it right over and let everybody introduce themselves.
Hi there. So I'm playing like ass. I'm going to be playing, oh my goodness, Yakuza 4. And with me today is Froob, who's going to be helping commentate.
That's me again. Unfortunately, it's this game.
Yeah,
we've got lots of time to talk about this.
We're both going to be putting up with this game today. So, without further ado, I'll give you guys a countdown and we can get started.
Whenever.
3, 2, 1, play ball. So this is Yakuza 4. We've seen a lot of runs in the first day of the marathon, with a lot of varied fighting styles, some interesting gameplay, lots of good things. In this run, there's going to be a bit of a deviation from that, but we will see that about 8 minutes in. This here is Akiyama, our first character. There are 4 characters in Yakuza 4. Akiyama gives out loans to people, but he's just heading out on the town to start things on.
Yes, we should mention...
The start of the game will be very similar to the casual experience, basically exactly like what you'd be playing through casually, but that'll change.
Yeah, we kind of alluded to this earlier as well. This speedrun has undergone a variety of changes, and is probably one of the most cursed speedruns we've got outside of maybe the run after this one. It's gonna be a good time though. PLA is gonna hop into the popper real quick here to make some purchases that are actually very important. For the first time in the series, beer is important. Alcohol.
Very much so. Yeah, Akiyama finds himself substantially stronger after imbibing. This is not true of real life, so I would not suggest anybody do that.
And if you're wondering about the first 2 items, these are DLC items. They're for having a save file from like a different game. In general, we never really mentioned this before, we don't allow those items. They don't exactly give like that much of a bonus, but some of them can actually be sold for like a decent amount of money in the games where you need money. Also, I said the alcohol is like important for the first time in the series, conveniently forgetting that we need it in Chapter 2 of Yakuza 0, so ignore what I said. But in terms of us chugging alcohol, yes. Thumbs up.
We will be doing a lot of that. Alright. Grab this guy, bring him right here for a rather painful experience. And then we'll see what we get with this bicycle. Sir, take this, please. Perfect. So now we're going to take some level ups. This menu.
Boozer's Law is important. Boozer's Law gives you more damage when you're drunk. Essence of Finishing does this, which, because PLA is ending this fight with an Essence of Finisher, he's going to have to set up the next fight a little differently. And then also Knockdown Evasion, which will help if, obviously, we get knocked down. But that first tutorial is actually like a big reset point, depending on how the bike deals with the enemies, and whether or not you get multiple. As Kamiyama, you'll know Kamiyama, he's your weapon specialist in the early games in this series. We will be going... I'm getting mixed up gun bat, aren't I? I hate this. I hate this a lot.
Yeah, we will not be encountering Kamiyama at all. No, one more time with Saejima, of course, but yeah, we won't be seeing him today in any large capacity.
We get to Dead Souls.
That's right. In my run, absolutely not. And yes, in Dead Souls, quite a bit.
Well, we did get to see him on the rooftop as well for like a brief second.
Yes, yeah. So, because I don't have Eat today, I'm going to grab this sign and start swinging. I'll grab a tree, because that has a knockdown property, and then we're going to go in on you. Go back to another sign. Ideally hitting people would be good. I'll grab this tree. And we'll do it again. I'm looking for Kobayashi, that's perfect. And we'll just do that.
Nice, good fight.
Really good tutorial, actually.
If PLA had come into that fight with heat, PLA would have started with the trees themselves and then done heat attacks that way. So you just change up the order of what you do, tree into sign or sign into tree.
Lovely weather we're having in Kamurocho today.
Had that in England today, which is kind of nice. It's been so hot in Europe recently.
Oh, yeah.
Rain's been great.
So
this is...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Oh, I was only going to say in Canada the other day we had hail, so... Yeah.
I know you've had like wildfires and stuff recently,
Yes.
so I hope everything is okay.
Lots of strange weather going on. And here in Ontario, we're all right. So coming into the Yahara scene, we're going to go... Oh, he got me anyway. So we're just going to hit him with a bunch of furniture.
Yeah, this was a strat that was come up on Legend difficulty by one of our runners who does a lot of Legend runs, Meta, who basically said to us, there's an easy way to deal with Ihara, right? Because for literally months we struggled with this fight because he's very aggressive. He's very aggressive, he's very annoying. But Meta said, if you just hit him with, like, the furniture, the last hit stuns always. And considering that works on Legend, we kind of knew, oh, that's going to work on easy, which suddenly made the most annoying fight in this chapter the easiest.
Yeah, it was a real surprise to see how handily he's just... Furniture just handles him. I don't know why we never thought of it.
No, and there's literally like 20 weapons in there that you can just use.
So here, I'm going to be mashing the controller buttons because, unfortunately... During these voiced segments in Yakuza 4 and Yakuza 3 as well, mashing becomes the fastest way to advance the text.
And you do a dual method of confirm and cancel to mash, don't you?
Yeah, I circle and X at the same time. And yeah, Yakuza 3, there's a couple. Yakuza 4, there's more than a couple. So it's somehow a physically demanding run, which in a way you wouldn't expect. Lovely jazz music as we end out the chapter here.
Yeah, that's something the Yakuza games do really well, is that every single like game has like a slightly different kind of tone of soundtrack, and like Yakuza 4 is jazz. Absolutely jazz. It's good.
100%.
I guess plot-wise, Akiyama, he's obviously, as PLA said earlier, he's like kind of like, he's not a loan shark, but he like gives out loans to people on like criteria, like little like kind of missions and like goals that he gives to people to do. But the first chapter here, we basically, one of his clients is a member, I believe, of the Ueno Saber, and they have been having a little bit of trouble with a different group from, I don't know if it's Tojo or out of town, but essentially, Ihara is from one of those groups out of town. The guy that we saw clutching his stomach, Arai even, he got shot by one of them, and we found out he shot somebody right outside of Akiyama's office. So Akiyama gets taken away by the police to obviously be questioned, and now we're here in chapter 2. Might be wrong on the groups here, because it's been a while since I've done Yakuza 4, honestly.
So you may have been wondering why I'm wearing a baseball hat today. So in this run, we're going to see the prevalence of a particular weapon type far and above everything else, and that's baseball bats. It used to be the case that with Saejima, we would pick up some sledgehammers, and oh, I didn't drink beer. That's important. With Saejima, we would pick up sledgehammers. With Tanemura later, we would pick up tonfas. With Kiryu, it would be guns. But Akiyama never had anything. So I was like, well, what's available to Akiyama early on? And I looked at all the weapon types and checked them out. And baseball bats are available to Akiyama early on. And not only is that the case, a much more important thing is that in Yakuza 4, for some reason, they've added a 2 somewhere in the programming. The damage for the bats literally does twice what it should be doing. In Yakuza 3, and based on the numbers, it should be doing half as much as it does. So it's just busted for some reason, and it's great for speedrunning at any rate. We'll be using baseball bats very extensively throughout the course of the run. Some might say too extensively, but I think it's going to be a fun time. We're going to see some real baseball enthusiasm from our 4 characters today, and I'm here for it.
Which is wild, because this is the game without the baseball man in it.
That's exactly
right. But the baseball bats were so good that they retroactively got added to Yakuza 3's speedrun. The nice thing is, Yakuza 4's baseball bats work a little differently to Yakuza 3's, and actually a little better. Not just in terms of damage, but in terms of being able to track enemies. And you'll see that when we get into our first fight in a couple of minutes. But it needs to be stressed, a little less with Akiyama, but still so. The amount of baseball bats that get used in this run, the number of them is important. When we get to a certain character later on, we're going to have to do their entire part with just 7 baseball bats. And that's actually kind of tricky. But there are things we can utilize and methods. Animations for these baseball bats are actually going to become very important.
There's a surprising amount of nuance around the baseball bats. At first, it did just seem like it was point and swing. And there's still a lot of pointing and swinging, but there's a little more to it.
Yeah, Potwise is going to meet up with Kido of obviously the Axe family, who Akiyama's been giving obviously loan money to, just to figure out what's going on, what happened to Arai, etc., etc.
We'll get a call from Akiyama's secretary, Hana, here. We can safely ignore that. She would like us to come back for a sub-story, but we are attempting to go fast, so we won't be doing that today.
Yeah, super interesting to note. This is obviously the remaster of Yakuza 4 on PC. It's the slowest version to run, yet it's the fastest speedrun. Don't question that, you'll understand later. But one of the nice things about the remaster is that the Western version of this added, and Western version of Yakuza 3 remaster, added sub-story markers that weren't apparently in the original Asian release of the remasters. So it's kind of cool. It also helps us because we don't have to remember where, like 10 to 15 different sub-stories are for every character.
Very convenient, especially if we want to know what to avoid certain parts of the map, as we definitely do.
Yeah, if it wasn't for those markers, I'd always walk into that one in downtown UQ in free. Every time.
So Akiyama's here having his nice conversation with Kido when he is rudely interrupted by some men. So we're going to pull out a baseball bat and hopefully give them a bad time.
Yeah, this is the Shibata family. This is the other Yakuza family involved. The idea here, so PLA is using Circle, which is the flurry attack that you can see. And you can see that just the normal hits from these baseball bats are really, really strong. So every single swing is using 10 of the durability that you can see in the top left. However, there's a neat little trick with that PLA is going to be utilizing a lot in this run, where if you can finish a fight in the middle of that animation, it doesn't count the durability loss. Which is also weirdly the same for hitting people with baseball bats. You have an exceptionally small frame window that you can, it's actually not that small if I'm being honest. You have a small window where you can hit an enemy with a normal attack from the baseball bat and then go into the flurry without that singular hit counting as a hit on the hit registration, and it still does the damage. So baseball bats in this are like extremely generous. These kind of chase sections in Yakuza 4, you'll see a couple of them. PLA is doing this trick, which is to use the quick turns. Quick turns are a pain in the backside to actually try and do in this video game. So PLA pulling off loads of them is really good. They give you a little bit of a speed boost. You can also just jump.
Yes. The reality is jumping is basically the same speed unless you can do quick turns really, really optimally. I'm only aware of one runner who's really good at quick turns, which would be Tojimaru.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, I think jumping for the most part is going to be faster, unless we're going around a corner, the camera's set up just right. They turn out to be basically the same time, but one day I will be very good at quick turns, I hope.
I've been saying that for years. I wish you all the best. So this is actually a long introduction to Akiyama's move master, someone who you will see again later on after this. But this is a nice fight now with baseball bats. Before it was kind of awkward because we couldn't kill like both these guys at the same. I say kill, couldn't defeat both these guys at the same time. And thankfully, baseball bat flurry works. Well, sometimes that guy that the camera's focused on, sometimes he walks away. We don't like that.
No. 9 times out of 10, that works great. One time, it doesn't, but that's all right. Because we're good. We got the good one. So we're going to have another chase segment coming up. Letting us know about a few of the tactics for chasing someone rather than being chased. We're going to be jumping after him. We're going to be tackling him. At one point, we're going to throw a bottle. And we're not going to let him away. Ooh, wrong way. Akiyama, please.
It's hard to describe how hard these quick turns are. They are very hard. So there's just one point where we want to be relatively close to the guy so that he'll get like a small speed boost, but thankfully we'll be able to just stop that. That's the one.
He's getting away from me, but it's all right. There we go. Take this.
Chase sections in Yakuza 4 are a bit of a pain. We have an infamous one coming up in probably like an hour or so that we'll talk about at the time. We've seen like about 15 to 20 different outcomes from runners. We've seen it like glitch out. We've seen it go exceedingly long. Some of these chase sections are frustrating.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about that one in particular. Well, we'll see it when we get to it. But there's a lot of bottle management and jumping back and forth around him. It's a whole thing. This one, not so bad. Now we're going to head on back to Sky Finance. And Akiyama is going to be astonished at what he sees. You'll notice I've been pointing the camera down quite a lot. So that's the thing with the PS3 era games, and even though this is their remaster, we still count it as that. When we're pointing the camera down, it despawns NPCs that would otherwise spawn in, except for fight spawns. So it's very useful for noticing when there's a fight up ahead so we can hopefully get around them. And just keeping people out of your way as well. It's very important for that.
It's hyper important for the remasters as well, because with the remasters, they didn't really put a cap on how many NPCs could spawn in. So because obviously every version of the remaster, like be it PS4, Xbox, or PC, runs on much stronger tech than the originals, you spawn in like 20 to 30 NPCs at a time. If you've ever played these remasters and thought that Kamurocho seems like really dense with civilians, yeah, they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a cop, Sugiuchi, who's suspicious of Akiyama, I think because of the events of the prior chapter when the police were chasing him. But who is this? There's a woman named Lily, and she's interested in a loan. So Akiyama, as he does with all of his clients, is going to give her a test. rather than being a lone shark, he's more of a lone angel. I'm sorry, we will not be mate kudasaiing today. We are trying to go fast.
We are speedrunning. The nice thing about going through this area is brand new to Yakuza 4. It's the underground parking lot. You'll actually see it quite a bit in this run because getting through there, one, no light spawns, which that's good. Two, it's also like relatively quickly, even with the like loading transitions, to just go down there and then, you know, as you can see here, get back up to where we need to be.
Yeah, there's a whole host of underground areas added in Yakuza 4. You're going to see a lot more of them in Dead Souls as well, coming up after this run. And then after that, they don't really show up again.
Yeah, which is honestly a shame. Same with the rooftops. There's another area in this that was added in Yakuza 4 called the rooftops. Again, you'll see those later. You saw them briefly when we were on the rooftop with Kido at the end of the previous chapter, but you'll get to see us run across them later when we're
oh dear,
forced to run.
So my dog
has
intruded and has had an event. Just one moment.
Doggo time is important.
My earbuds have come loose is the problem here. Yeah, so I should preemptively warn about my dog Mocha. At some point in the run, almost certainly she is going to bark. And that, if that occurs, I will mute the microphone, but hopefully won't feel too much ill will towards her because she is cute. I promise.
Right, there's somebody who obviously just got a new puppy recently. Listen, puppo time is important.
She seemed to think so. She pushed her way right into my room. So important to note, Akiyama owns this club. And as part of the test he set out for Lily to get the loan, he's going to be at the club for a couple days making money. And if she can make money, then he will loan her more money. There's nothing untoward about the club. It is, I don't know, what would you call it, Froob?
Pain in the backside.
Yes, well, that is that is true. Yeah, no, absolutely. We will see in a few minutes as we come back to do a bit of a club management mini game that, yes, in fact, it is. Can be painful. That's a cutscene. We skip those. Very important.
Yeah, I think we were both paying attention there with, this is something we've been wondering about a while. It's happened to me twice recently. There's this weird thing that can happen in the menu when you're putting on Lily's dress and necklace, where it can do a shadow input and put it on like a piece of accessory that you don't own, which can cause you to lose 10 seconds randomly in like one of the cutscenes later on here. We have no idea what causes it. It's happened to me like twice in like almost as many runs. So
yeah, it's happened to me every single D-Rust that I have had.
Wow.
So not having
something
today
that's causing
is good.
it.
We don't know how to stop it from occurring.
Yeah.
Actually, in a run I did 2 days ago, I noticed a shopping bug as well that I've never seen before. That completely stopped up the run for about 15 seconds. So we're going to hope that we don't run into that too. I won't go into details about it because it's not important, but lots of curious things happening with Yakuza 4 these days.
Yeah.
Weird things with the remaster as well. Like sometimes there's a sound bug. There is a menu delay that is exclusive to Yakuza 4 remaster for some reason.
It's terrible. Yeah. And here's the weird thing. It's menu delay for every menu apart from your ability upgrade menu. So you'll see PLA go very, very exceedingly fast during the ability menu, but no other menu. And that's not because, you know, PLA is going slow for menus. Literally, we can't go faster. Like, there is a weird delay.
The fight spawns are being... I think I was confronted with 3 out of the 4 fight spawns there. That's highly unusual. So we're going to run into another altercation with some men on this rooftop. I don't recall whose men... They're Shibata family hitmen, obviously, but I don't recall why they're here exactly.
They're after... Wait, I was going to say they're after Kido, but no, they're after you at this point.
So we want you, Sasaki, to... Ooh, I've lost the pistol. That's all right. Go back to baseball bats. Not a problem. Actually faster. Oh, here it is. Take this, please. That pistol has a huge tendency to disappear on us. It's a bit concerning.
Yeah, that bench you see on the right-hand side, it can land on that, which makes it unpick-upable, and there's like a couple of fire beds. It's really weird.
So here's the big meaty chapter for Akiyama. The first 3 are pretty quick, but this one will be longer than all 3 combined. Or about the same length, maybe.
Yeah, we get confirmation that Arai has basically gone missing, and then we're going to get a little bit of backstory on Akiyama himself, actually. With a nice long voiced cutscene. So, Akiyama used to be an investment banker. He was set up by his boss about embezzlement. Obviously, Akiyama didn't do it. He ended up homeless. And the events that you can see here are the events of Yakuza 1. So when the Millennium Tower blew up, obviously Akiyama managed to get a whole bunch of money from the money raining down on Kamurocho. This is where he met Arai. And because he was an investment banker, he was sensible enough to know how to invest his money and to make a whole bunch of money and just now be one of the richest men alive. Probably.
Akiyama is a very popular man. His phone is constantly ringing. We're getting text messages.
Some sub-stories again.
So, I'm going to keep an eye out for fight spawns, because as we move back and forth through these areas quite a lot during this chapter, some of the fight spawns will be in consistent places, or rather they'll remain where they are, so I'll know that they're there on the way back and I'll know to avoid them. We're going back over to the club to do our club management minigame tutorial. Thankfully, we don't have to play the club management minigame more than the tutorials, which there are 2 of, but it is the burden that we bear in our lives.
And this is actually really huge speed tech. Every round of the club management here is going to take 45 seconds less than it should. So pay attention to what PLA does. And that's the magic. So what most people think, and what kind of the game kind of shows to you, is that most people think you have to walk around the entirety of the club to be able to finish this off. You only need 3 text boxes, which you can see obviously in the bottom right. By going towards where obviously one of your hostesses is and then speaking to her, you actually refresh those text boxes, which makes it so that you can just walk straight back towards the room and just go back in. If you consider that this saves you like 45 seconds of walking around every single segment of this minigame, if you want to do this minigame 100%, which takes a very long time, do this strat.
Absolutely. It's actually groundbreaking how much time it would save you casually.
Yeah. I can't remember who found that. I always say it was Kuro or Tap, but I think it was someone on Game FAQs.
Sorry,
I think one of them found a forum post.
Did not mean to knock that man over. Ignore this man. We're not interested.
But we are going to head to the Champion District now. When the head of Kido's family was found dead. There was a lighter with a club name on it next to the body. So we're obviously going to go to the Champion District to go to that little bar that the lighter's name was on and see if we can find anything here. And we're going to find something here, all right. There's no camera who works in the area. Going to tell us a little bit about the comings and goings recently. And as we enter, here is the thing we find. You know, as you'd always expect to find in a restaurant, a dead Yakuza.
Whoa, how'd you get here?
This guy's model was absolutely reused in Dead Souls.
100%, yeah.
He is absolutely a model of one of the sub-stories. So the hitboxes in here are really weird. You need to look at the jacket, the lighter, which, hey look, Lily was smoking with that same lighter, but not the blood. And it's really weird because the hitboxes, if you look in kind of like the opposite direction, you can get the jacket away from the jacket. And the blood is next to the door. It's weird. Don't ask.
It's very bizarre, yeah.
And then we get Yakuza 4's
really
wonderful...
today. Oh, wow.
That counted? All right.
Your guess is as good as mine. Oh.
Unfortunately, if you get these fight intros from behind, it does take a little longer because you have to go through a little intro of the enemy grabbing you from behind and then you're doing a QTE. Unfortunately, we don't have... One of the good things about Yakuza 5 and its fight spawns, despite the numerous amount of fight spawns it has, there's a actual aspect in Yakuza 5 where there's actually a leader to the fight, and if you take care of the leader, any enemy that fears and goes to the ground, you can take care of in one hit, which actually can make it somewhat fast, but unfortunately we don't have that luck with this game. But yeah, weirdly, fight spawns like that can just be a pain in the backside where you look like you'll be away from them, and you're not.
Yeah, that was very nasty. I don't think, and I know that this is a typical phrase, I don't think I've ever seen that happen, and I've never seen that man in a run before in my life. I'm going to be honest. We want to go here. My goodness.
Shout outs to Yakuza 4. Everyone always asks what's the hardest part of running multiple Yakuza games? The taxi list. And the taxi list in Yakuza 4 is literally reversed from every other game. So every other game has like Tenkaichi near the bottom whenever Tenkaichi becomes a taxi, but in this game, it's at the top.
Yeah, it's a subtly nasty thing between the games.
So unfortunately, we find out a group called the Hatsushiba clan have come and assaulted Hana, taken Kido and their registry book. So we're going to chase Midori Akawa, but before that, we get one of the best NPCs in the series.
Hello, Mac. Welcome back. We don't see him for very long, unfortunately. Nor is the majority of the interaction required. He's here to teach us a revelation, which is a new cool move that Akiyama could make use of, but we don't care. And luckily, we are allowed to skip it. But unluckily, that means we have to say goodbye to Mac well before his time. Sorry, Mac, we will see you in Yakuza 5. Not in this marathon, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm really upset. I say this every time. Sega had a design for Mac for the LAD issue and they decided to cut him, which, man, that makes me upset. Bring back Mac.
Hashtag bring back Mac. We're heading to Theater Square. We're looking basically for Hana's assailants. So I know that if I head to Theater Square, I'm going to ask a man who's going to tell me a little more information.
Yeah, this next conversation choice doesn't look important. It is. If you do the bottom option, those three enemies in the back, you have to fight. If you do the top option, you just carry on.
So we'll head down here and talk to these lovely men who will inform us that we can get into the tunnels going in this direction because they're closed off through the escalator.
Another brand new area.
Yes. Which we'll see quite a bit of in this run. Quite a bit more again in Dead Souls. And I need to do some item management shortly.
So this is going to be essentially the first big set piece of the run. It's a long one. I'm going to need fresh baseball bats and to be drunk.
Oops. I'll keep that there. All right. Sir, you were too far. Well, with those men taken care of, let me go over and punch this and proceed up into the set piece proper. And I'll take out a bat right there. There's one. Actually, let's go for this. Please don't hit me, sir. I'm going to come into this room and immediately flurry. Let's see if this works. Not as wonderfully as I would have liked it to. But we're through to the next round all the same. Sirs, I do not care about you, I'm sorry to tell you. This is Kasai. That's it. There's nothing important about him whatsoever. He's got an interesting hairstyle and he wears all purple.
He's also probably the biggest pain in this fight. He's a lot more manageable thanks to baseball bats. Especially being able to bounce him off the walls, because he's kind of aggressive at getting up.
So let's go find this man's buddy Kakuda, who happens to be a locksmith. Inozaki, I'm sorry, go away. I've pushed a bench in front of the door. There we go.
I'll blame Shinozaki on that one, to be honest. Yeah, I guess we should mention the difference between the beer and the sake that we got. The sake makes you more drunk, so obviously you stay drunk for longer. So by drinking the sake, we're going to be drunk for the rest of Akiyama's chapter.
Yes.
Fortunately, we do have to take care of all the enemies here. Actually, this is probably a good time to talk about it, considering the enemy just dropped a baseball bat. You're probably wondering why, if bats are so important to conserve, why we don't pick up the enemy baseball bat off the ground. The flurry attack is on circle, and if you pick up an enemy weapon and press circle, you should know what happens. You throw the weapon. So you don't get the flurry with enemy baseball bats, only with baseball bats that we own. And unlike, say, Yakuza 2, K2, 5, we can't put weapons in our inventory. Nice hit on Kasai.
Very lucky hit. So, with all those guys dead, we can actually grab this pipe, give him a 1, 2, 3, and that's just enough damage. In this next room, I'm going to try to get a very good angle on the 3 men. Let's see if I can get it. Oh no, I got him. And we can proceed directly through. This room coming up can be pretty quick too. I'm going to try just backing up a little bit and then flurrying. And hopefully we will melt the health of at least 4 out of 5 of these enemies. No, not as good as it could have been. I'll get some more bats. Sir? Okay. Wow. Don't pay any attention to this man who does appear to have come from the Back to the Future franchise. We're not going to talk about that at all. Got some strange machine. Who knows what that could possibly be. Not a time machine.
If you're trying to go for no damage Yakuza runs, good luck with this guy.
Yeah, he got.
Because he does that.
Sir.
Wow. Being aggressive today. Also, unfortunately, he can guard a lot. At the very least, we got the stun hit off, which is good. But he does drop the gun, which is a nice backup in case you are down on baseball bat hits for the end of this fight.
Now some men step in because they want to see our baseball techniques in action, though we will show them. Sir. Oops. Fall over. Thank you. Now, because I don't have heat coming up here, I am going to fail. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to mash X.
Please ignore the fact he has a chainsaw. Don't ask about it. Don't worry about it. Now,
would be lethal, but it's all right. This is a video game. So we'll pull out our bat and go to town.
now the actual worrying thing about Midorikawa with the chainsaw is that he does get a huge amount of hyper armor. Like, if you are doing this fight legit, highly recommend leaving the gun for that phase because he is nasty.
Absolutely. I'm going to take the slightly safer path up here. It's a little slower, but it'll be easier to avoid fight spawns if they do come up. Such as this man.
The rest of this chapter is going to be dedicated to just sorting out the last little bits with Lily, and then finishing off with Akiyama's personal stuff going on.
In and immediately back out to the club for more fun club minigame. This time I'll take the riskier path there, because it's safer going this way than it is going the other way. Looks good. Stop, you drunk. It's worth noting as well that when you have alcohol in your system in this game, you get more fight spawns. So when you see men calling out to you such as "stop, you drunk," you know that they're coming for you. But hopefully I'll manage to continue to avoid them despite Akiyama's very large amount of intoxication. So we're going to do this again. This time our lady is on this bar stool, so that's all good. But otherwise, this segment is exactly the same as it was the last time. There's a lot of little things to this run. I suppose one thing I haven't talked about so far is every time you see Akiyama stop like that, or in this instance here, I'm sort of wiggling the control stick to get him to start moving more smoothly. Because otherwise what has a tendency to happen is that he'll do this, he'll turn and start moving again. The game gets a little bit confused. So when we wiggle the joystick, it will help him move along a little more well-oiled, I suppose. Sure, we'll go this way. And now we are receiving a phone call saying, oh, yeah, Lily has in fact been great. So Akiyama is going to give her the loan she's looking for, and we're going to meet her back at the Millennium Tower. Which means, you guessed it, we are going back the way that we came. This time without a possibility of any fight spawns, so that is good. Because of that freedom, I'm just gonna look around and admire the view. We can take in a little bit of Kamurocho safely. Look at all the people.
It's also really bizarre that it doesn't let you have a fight spawn here, because this ain't the last time you'll see this briefcase, which is gonna make a very, very big impact later.
Yes. Yeah, it's, to say the least, we do get into a fight holding the briefcase down the line, so it is very unclear why there are no fights right now, but I am not going to argue with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You think it'd be one of the most dangerous times, considering this briefcase has a lot of money inside of it?
Yeah. That is true. Oh, that's a cutscene. We skipped those. When there's an option to choose from, like I just had there going up on the elevator, there's a very small optimization you can do. We're just holding the direction of the option, and basically mashing the button will get you the right option. With 2 options in particular, with 3, obviously, you want to be a lot more careful. But that way the input just comes out a lot quicker, otherwise there's a small, tiny amount of delay. Akiyama, by the way, will be smoking a lot over the course of this run. Don't do it. It's not good for your health. Don't take that as an endorsement in any way.
Game really lingers on shots of Akiyama taking cigarettes in this game. And then in 5, it really likes shots of Akiyama's watch, because they have a tie-in deal with this watch brand.
So the fight spawn should be the same as the last time, so I think I'm safe going in this direction again.
It should be noted the phone call coming out of the Millennium Tower as well. The second one was for you to start the business minigame, the cabaret, if you want. Obviously, do the tech we showed you earlier if you do.
Yes. Do not do it any other way. It is not worth your time. Now, Hana has run away, so we're going to be chasing her. We won't be tackling her, of course. We'll just be chasing after her. There's really no way to do any wrong here. Just avoid the people. Quick turn here. No, I won't. Okay. Interesting. At any rate, we've caught up with her. We should probably make note of the fact there's a lot of plot in this game we're just not talking about. There's too much to cover. It gets incredibly convoluted at times. There's all sorts of things going on here, like Akiyama thinks that Lily looks like a woman from his past, and so that's part of the reason that he's agreeing to give her such a large loan, and there's just not enough time to cover it all.
Yeah, it should be noted she was the one who killed the officer of the Yakuza office that he was loaning money to, which Kido is a part of, and Arai is a part of, and Arai's gone who knows where, and that's a fight spawn. He can go away, preferably. Thank you very much.
Very, very close encounter there.
But we did get a phone call saying that there's a little bit of trouble going on at the club by a member of a certain Tojo clan family who go by the name of the Majima family. Never heard of them before.
We never will again. Just some nobodies. Worth noting for my own self, I think I'm going to come out of this with 5 bats on Akiyama, and that's something to pay attention to. Because in the finale of the game, the number of bats we have across all 4 characters will be very important.
Say, do you want me to make a note of that for you?
That could be useful, yeah. That's true.
Hate trying to do finale math in this game.
Minami is very upset that we've interrupted his karaoke, so we're going to have a little encounter. I'll just go directly into a flurry, pull out another bat, this into a flurry, juggle him against the wall because otherwise he does some strange things, and one more should basically do it. There we go.
Nice fight.
Simple, straightforward, effective fight. And that is going to be the end of Akiyama's part.
It should be said quickly with Minami, you can drop him from the combo once. He will stand there and he will get drunk. There is a real theme of alcohol in this video game. If you suffer from, obviously, the alcohol addiction, please seek help.
Yes.
And we get to go to prison. Thankfully for only the one time today. No Yakuza 5 here.
Oh, you're that guy, aren't you? Saejima is basically the thing going on here. So Saejima, he's in prison because of an infamous incident where he shot, I believe it was 18 Yakuza members of a rival gang.
It's around that number. It's a lot.
Sounds likely, yeah. 16 or 8.
So, Saejima is obviously our second playable character. He is, as you can see, a very physical powerhouse who's able to charge his hits. This is super important for his fighting style and also for us going fast. The double light strong punch you can see here, it does a good arc to it. It's actually a little wider in Yakuza 5, weirdly enough. But as you can see here, it's a very good way to open up a fight into a charge light, which we'll be changing this combo up very quickly in this chapter. Because we're in prison, we don't have access to go purchase baseball bats. Please hold. The regularly scheduled baseball programming will resume after these commercial messages.
That is correct. But thankfully, that does mean we get to do some actual fighting. And Saejima is the character you'd want to do that with the most, I think. I at least enjoy his fighting style quite a bit in this game. Saejima and his friend Hamazaki here are gonna play a little Clue, because what else are you gonna do in prison? You can pull up the Clue board, you play a little Parcheesi, you know. But of course, no, this is, they're planning how their escape is going to go down. But first, we're going to need help from our old friend Kamiyama. Why is he in prison? Well, this is his twin brother, also named Kamiyama, who is in prison. So he's going to be very helpful in this instance as we start to do a little bit of a trading sequence to make a grappling hook. We're going to talk to these people first of all. Hello, sir. Because they have the chain we're looking for. So what I'm going to attempt to do here is punch the second guy to the right. Hopefully get both of them in the action here. That's pretty good. Except that I missed him. There we go. I'll just do this into this.
It's hard to describe how frustrating these guys can be. Usually, if something goes wrong, one of them's going to end up grabbing you. It's really annoying. Or they can guard, which is the more common thing.
This man, we have heard, is doing the gardening, the farming at the farm. So he must have a hoe. And using our chain and his hoe, we're assuming we can put together a grappling hook for the escape plan down the line. He wants a cigarette, though, so we're going to get a cigarette from Kind Ozaki over here. But unfortunately, when we take the cigarette back, his demands have increased, and now he would like a lighter, so we'll go get a lighter.
He says, how am I supposed to light this? Which, fair enough. Also, if you're wondering, no, you can't pick the lighter up early. Everything in this sequence must be done in the actual order. As we kind of referenced yesterday, RGG were really good at keeping you on, like, the path they want you to go down. With Saijima's part later, we'll describe it later, but there's actually a way to break out of that path.
Which we will importantly not be doing.
Yes.
I like that. Oh, but then I missed him. Thank you.
Still a nice fight. That was a nice double.
Yeah, RGG are sticklers for story progression. Very, very careful. Back to Kamiyama. And Hamazaki tells us to stuff this in this sewer grate over here.
It also be noted that in this time where we're playing as Saijima, and this is something to remember for like the next 10-15 minutes, we're going through his first 2 chapters with no chance of going to a shop, so no chance of getting healing items outside of the set piece. So when you're playing this casually for the first time, if like you decide to play this game on hard, this set piece is hard. Like, actually.
That is very true, yes.
So Saito is the person currently behind actually attacking us right now. Saito is a pain. Saito is a big pain throughout this entire set piece. But you'll see that PLA has a very good way of dealing with the guy. So we have a couple of options in most Yakuza runs of what most people would call cheese. This is our cheese, where Saito actually technically has an infinite combo. It's a lot more simple than you would expect. We're going to employ it against the next time we see Saito, because that fight, if it gets out of hand and you see us feel the heat, you can lose like a minute.
Yes, I am going to be very, very careful.
Oh, it should also be mentioned, something that's only come up in 0 and K1 in terms of the runs already done. With those games being later games in the series, you can hold the L2 or left trigger to not perform heat moves. That is a thing that was only introduced from Yakuza 5 onwards. So unfortunately, that's not a thing for 4. So PLA is trying, obviously, to do like these ground kicks to make sure that fights just end like a little bit faster and not as long.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. There are some small things we can do to try to avoid some weird heat actions, but yeah, for the most part, wherever we can avoid that, we would like to do so. Go down, Saito. Thank you. Oops. Sir?
There it is. We should also mention, if you hit Saito's guard way too many times, he will do that counter that you saw, like the kind of the red flash. That is really annoying. For the most part, it's not something we have to worry about.
Saito, please. Thank you. That was
the issue here is that Saito can roll away from you, but as you can see, you can just do the single light into strong, and it just resets his animation. Sometimes you'll launch him in the air, and then he'll stop getting launched in the air. With that, the way to allow them to get launched in the air again is to let them stand up. But in some cases, like obviously the case of Saito, if you let him up, he can do his feel the heat, which we do not want to see. And super importantly, double charging finish. So more charging finishes on your finishers.
More damage, always good. Yeah, that Saito went very, very close to being wrong. I'm happy that it did not. You may notice, or may not notice rather, I'm trying to avoid getting items here wherever possible. It's going to help later as we start selling them, just to make that process a lot more quick. Any item I pick up here is a mistake, so.
So, I guess whilst we run up to the roof, which, well, that's a section, we should mention Hamazaki is from Yakuza 3. It's not in the Hotfix weekend this weekend because it was recently on Church and Sarge's Hotfix show recently, so we decided not to include 3. So a lot of these references in this game right now are to 3. Hamazaki was a bad guy in 3, but he is in the prison. He is trying to get certain documents, which you could see in his shirt, so that he can expose something going on with the Tojo, because there's always something going on with the Tojo clan.
These men do like to grab you. Oh.
And this is the issue with the rooftop. You think it'd be the guy with the sniper rifle? No, it's the guys with the stun grenades.
He really is never an issue up there.
This rooftop on legend difficulty is pain. Very, very much pain. I can't remember, again, Legend Runner Meta. I can't remember if they came up with strats for this part, but casually, Legend on this rooftop was terrifying.
I don't recall what they do. Hopefully we won't. No, we did.
That's a shame.
2 out of 2 grenades is never good. Oh dear, we've gone the wrong way.
And the issue with trying to like roll away from the grenade and even sometimes punching the door is that Saejima will regularly lock on to like the enemy that's like further away from them, which really sucks.
My apologies if you get a little bit dizzy from this portion. I know I do.
Yeah, I do a little bit as well, to be honest. Ignore the enemies, hope you live. Best strategy, love that strategy. So again, with this, it'll be a lot of the double light into strong, because you can see that that's obviously a very good wide arcing attack that hits most of the enemies. Most of these enemies have like 1 HP bar, so you have to do a little bit extra afterwards with like some light charged hits. Hamazaki's here, he's helping, question mark. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But he'll usually keep one enemy like locked down and do a good bit of damage.
Sure, there you are. I should have known it was Mogi. Mogi always causes me trouble.
But where is this guy going? Yoshi, do your taxes. Always get turned around here because that cutscene drags you down a little bit, so you're not actually in front of the door that you will look at when you come out of that cutscene or when you come out of the door. Anyway, he's back. This is like 3rd time already.
He's a gem, this man.
Saito's actually the boss you fight the most in this game, isn't he? You fight him 4 times.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Excuse me. That's wrong. There you are.
Right, we go after the gun guy so we can take care of, obviously, the majority of Saito's HP and some of the other enemies as well.
Saito, I'm going to need you to cooperate.
I think Saito understands what that word means. And yeah, once you get him down, that's pretty much it at that point. That's fine.
Better than usual. For me, anyway. Alright.
This is one of the shorter chapters in the game, because you only do one thing in this chapter. And this is kind of what we were alluding to earlier with the whole... This is actually kind of hard. Especially on harder difficulties of this game, because you go from that set piece where you have very minimal healing items that you can pick up to no healing items. You should recognize who that character is. And where, well, if we played Yakuza 3, you'd recognize where we are. This is the orphanage owned by Kiryu.
Very lovely beach view. I kind of wish I was there.
Yeah. I love the absolute absurdity of RGG, like, pulling this on us as players. Because you can probably all guess, especially if you played this game before, where this is going.
Yes. Saejima and Kiryu are about to engage in what I like to call extreme beach volleyball. Otherwise known as fighting each other.
The usual Yakuza chat. So, something we should mention before the fight begins, and we shouldn't see it, Kiryu has technically got 3 different forms. His normal self, blue heat, and red heat. And this is why this bit is so absurd. If Kiryu gets to red heat, he gets the tiger drop. This is a full-powered Kiryu. And you've been playing Saejima for what, 10-15 minutes at this point? Like, you haven't got a chance to go and get healing items if you suffered in the last set piece? Game is wild.
Just to be safe, I'll start by giving him a little toss.
Didn't even get the bounce. We have to be very careful as well. The kind of side of the beach there, if you hit Kiryu towards it, there's a very small chance Kiryu will fly away.
Hence the volleyball moniker I mentioned earlier.
Good.
He likes to hop.
Very good fight. I think that like actual like physics glitch has happened to the both of us. Yeah, that was a very, very good fight. That's a fight you want because you want to keep Kiryu locked down completely. You just do not want to see... Ideally, you don't see blue heat because you get to the Kamaki reversal, but you don't want to see red. If you see red, it's tiger drop time.
Yeah, very easy way to lose time on that fight. And Saito, and there's some fights coming up later with Saejima with similar problems. There's a lot of ways to lose time as Saejima. I think every runner does.
Yeah. We now get to Kamurocho and we get a little bit of quotation marks freedom of movement.
But how will Saejima make use of his freedom is the question. Not well is the answer. For now, though, we're going to head to the local convenience store. Here we're going to pick up a couple of things. One of them is a locker key, which will come in useful shortly. Right here. And the other is we're going to purchase some sake. This is not going to be for Saejima to drink, however. He doesn't get stronger when he drinks. This is for someone who wants it in a minute or two. I'm going to taxi 2 up.
Yeah, and I think beginning with Saejima's part, this is beginning where the run had like some of the biggest changes. There were a lot of people that they're kind of hat into the ring with, like coming up with stuff for this run, and also like the changes for all the characters in terms of like implementing the baseball bats, the previous routes. I think it was Voitus who brought in sledgehammers a long time ago, for example. And then obviously with your discovery of baseball bats, we started bringing those in. I'm pretty confident you, me, Meta, Tap, I think we all had at least like a little bit of a hand in like trying to route stuff into 4 and what we do now.
Yeah. And now it is what it is. All baseball bats all the time. For the most part. There's still some discussion about that, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So Sajima's looking around for his old family. He's been in prison for 15 years. He's very fond of his patriarch, so he's looking around for any signs he can find of his family or his patriarch. Taxi, please. Here, I believe. Yeah.
So we alluded to this a little earlier. We're going to now find a certain character you might recognize from Akiyama's part who goes by the name of Kido. We're still looking for, obviously, more signs of Sajima's family, and we find that Kido has been beating up these Shibata family, and yeah, Kido's gonna run. And this is the chase we were talking about earlier.
It's sort of like playing chess, you know, it's a very intellectual pursuit. There's a lot of ways it can go. What I'm going to start by doing is attempt to do a series of quick turns. Usually I'm pretty good with them here, but let's see. There we go. Number 2, 3, get 4. I'll get ahead of him if I can. Get that in. With those 5 hits, we're a little better prepared for the upcoming chase. He has been turning down the street every time with me lately. Let's see if he does it again. He didn't.
Nice.
Hooray. I'm gonna... Oh, he's going for a runner. Sir. Stand still. Okay. So now, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to, hopefully, get him with this. I didn't. Stay where you are, Kido. Actually, one, please. Usually it locks on. Give me 1 bottle. Yeah, that damage amount was good enough for 1, actually. Sometimes we chain 2, depending on how many hits he's taken, or chain 3. It also depends how far he's run over the course of the chase, because he loses health as he runs. That was pretty good, if not for me missing. But otherwise, that is exactly how we want the chase to go, for him to end up at the end of that road. But he can turn left, he can turn right, he can do all sorts of silly things. He's a funny one.
Yeah, there is theoretically, I think it was you who did it. You can get Kido technically stuck on one of the first few lampposts where the bins are, which is where Kido started his run in the chase you saw. But it's so precise, ridiculously precise. And we used to get the coin locker key above the sign here for a stun gun, because a certain final boss of Sajima's, who you may or not be seeing, is a big pain in the backside. And we need something to deal with their heal phase, but thankfully we have baseball bats now.
Baseball bats have subsumed basically every other weapon in the run, for good or for ill, so they work just as well in that part as they do everywhere else. I was trying a little bit to push Kido from behind, but there's not much you can do. There's some segments in Yakuza 3 where you can push NPCs. It works better than in this game, I would say. Kido's got maybe a rounder back, so you just sort of slide off for the most part. You can help to move them along a little bit if you get 1 good push.
You all might recognize this room. This is the room where Akiyama was unfortunately ended in the speedrun of a chainsaw.
Rest in peace.
I believe we'll never see him again.
So as much as we would like to go about our own business at this point, this man is going to come along asking for assistance, and he won't listen to anything Sajima has to say, so we'll follow him and see what he wants.
As you can probably tell with the adage of master in this sentence, yes, we are going to be going to see one of Saijima's move masters. Actually, yeah, Saijima only has the one. It's only Tanamura that has the two, right? Why does Tanamura get two? Oh no, wait, no, he only gets one. He gets Nair, and then there's the Akashic Guard. That's right.
There's even more of the sewers. Saijima gets a little grubbier than the other characters do.
Again, if it looked like it's the illusion of choice between actually do the thing and don't do the thing, you don't get a choice, you have to do it.
Yeah. So it is up to us to punch these men. Done the double there. Oh, hello, sir. Goodbye, sir. Poor Shoji.
Yeah, we had for a little while, for about a month, we actually routed in the coin locker key that's at Saijima's feet here. You can see it in the middle of the room. That's a gold plate. Because we have an issue of money in this run. We used to require 3 million for reasons we'll explain later. And there's a sub-story on Tanamura that gives you 3 million yen, but unfortunately that's locked behind a couple of things. So we kind of scrambled around for money in other ways for other characters. So we used to grab that gold plate on Saijima, but thankfully not anymore. Because that's an underground locker key, which are different to the other locker keys. It would require you to go to the locker keys next to the guy we gave the sake to earlier on in this chapter.
Yeah. Ends up being just slightly slower, which is unfortunate because it does feel better in a certain way to pick up the gold plate. But yeah, there's really no way of making it faster. So we picked up the Eye of the Dragon from the convenience store earlier. And now, after exiting the sewer, we're going to go sell that for 100,000 yen as well, just like the gold plate, which is very useful. Because we're going to be purchasing an entire coterie of bats. And let's head that way now.
But yeah, enjoy, if you're playing this game, obviously enjoy being able to run around at this point, because that's going to change very soon, unfortunately.
Alright, now thankfully, blessedly, some might think, such as myself, we find ourselves with the ability to purchase some baseball bats. First, we're going to do a nice slide down that menu, and then we'll go right in. Good. So here is where the other day I got a strange bug that actually caused me a problem in Tanamura's part, which is the next part of the speedrun. I won't go into any detail, but I'm very happy to have not seen it here because that was actually a big time loss. So here we're going to taxi up to the park. This whole time we're looking for a man called the Florist, who you might remember from prior Yakuza runs yesterday as being the local informant. But it turns out we can't get through the bathroom. The entrance used to be in the bathroom, of course, so we have to find a new way. And that new way is going to involve us going over here to Shichifuku Street and talking to one of his known associates. I need to equip some bats while I'm at it. Oops. Very nice thing that Saijima had the money and the inventory space for 20 baseball bats. He's the only character who's going to have a full inventory like that, and that's going to come in very handy later when we reach the finale as well. Oh, hello there, Fight Spawn.
That's a nasty one.
Yeah.
It's usually, well, you can actually see one in the background right now. It's usually just that one in the background, but nope.
Let's carefully navigate our way back this way because we want to go to, I think this is Public Park 3?
Yeah.
And we're going to open up the sewer grate, except for the fact that there's some unruly youths.
Oh, no, children's park. Alright, Public Park 3 is the one on Tenkaichi. Whoops.
Yeah.
And the park on the east side of the map is West Park, because, yeah,
That's
sure,
right.
cool. Intentional.
So we're going to show them our brand new baseball bats. You can see this man here is a fellow baseball aficionado.
Very nice first hit.
Yeah, it was great. And we got the bounce off the wall, so the 3 strikes was enough, and we didn't even need to do any ground play. Very good fight. Let me in. Next up, it's going to be a minute and a half or so. There's going to be a fight where, unfortunately, we won't be able to use baseball bats again. It will be back to good old punching. But that's okay, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll see this area again later a couple times.
Gonna sound weird, but yes, you can fish there if you want to.
Now, Saejima finds himself in Purgatory, which again you might recognize from the prior runs. This is where we've been trying to get to. Some sort of underground pleasure district, gambling, men fighting each other in a coliseum, the whole thing. And the man running it, of course, is the Florist of Sai with his wonderful pillars.
You.
And fantastic aquarium, to be honest.
Yeah.
So he wants Saejima to fight in the underground coliseum, because of course he does. So we're going to do that, and as I said, we're not allowed to use our baseball bat. I'm ready. I am not broke. We used to say we were broke. That gives you some money, which is useful, but we don't need that here. Ibrahimovic is a fight very much in the same vein as Kiryu. We want to not get attacked. We want him to fall down, and then we want to keep him down.
Very nice.
I will scroll my notes. On to Chapter 4. Again, the longest chapter of Part 2, just as it was in Part 1. First of all, the Florist is going to honor his deal. The reason Saejima was fighting in the Colosseum was so that the Florist would give him information about his former patriarch from 15 years ago. So the Florist has found him, he's homeless now, and the Florist is going to bring him in. And Saejima is happy to see him, of course. He's not doing so well. Now Saejima is asking about his old pal Majima. This will become relevant later. Also, I guess this is a good time to note, past that little text that we got there, you can actually interact with this sewer grate earlier than you're supposed to and get out into Kamurocho proper, which you would think would let you get past the route, the intended path of the story. Unfortunately, you kind of don't. You just get stuck. You can walk around and do things, but eventually you have to come back, get that text, and resume the story, because RGG are sticklers for that sort of thing. But yeah, Saejima is now trying to get in touch with his old pal Majima, who stood him up 15 years ago. They were supposed to go murder people together. This way, to the dojo, which is unavoidable, unfortunately. So yeah, Saejima's wondering what that's about. Why did Majima do that all those years ago? I couldn't tell you. I could. counting the sounds here. Miscounted by one. But yeah, we don't want to get caught in the dojo. We want to be allowed to leave, absolutely. So now there are many, many police officers present on the streets of Kamurocho. So we have to go around them. And how do we do that? We go down the intended route, back and forth for 12 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm not sure. It's a long time.
About 7. It's a very, very long time.
Yeah. There is technically a trick you can do here to get that cop to move just a little bit, enough to squeak past his incredibly large hitbox. We will not be doing that today because it's incredibly challenging to pull off. Right now, we don't know any way to do it reliably, and it doesn't save a whole lot of time. Excuse me, Kamiyama. He's broken out of the prison too. Very good. We are happy for him. So yeah, this really is just mindless navigation. Unfortunately, that's all we have available to us. It used to be the case that along this route we would encounter the other Kamiyama, who would sell us a series of sledgehammers, which we found useful for the final boss of this chapter, but we will not be doing that in this run because we already have our baseball bats, so we're just going back and forth. That's really him, the assassin. No, it's not. I am Saejima. They're not talking about me, but it's alright.
Usually you want your assassins to be covert. I wouldn't exactly call Saejima covert.
There are a surprising number of people down in this parking lot. I'm not sure what they're doing here. Going about their lives, I suppose.
Thankfully, not with the same kind of spawn rate as up on the streets. Can you imagine actually like having like 20 NPCs down there and trying to get past all of them?
Oh, yeah. That would be a nightmare. I am going this way. When you are learning this run, the route of going back and forth along this intended path is very confusing, actually. Very easy to get lost. Up and down and side to side, like a little bit like an Escher painting. If we were to run into the police at any point during this segment, they would say, "Hey, who are you?" And you get a game over, and you have to start way back at the dojo that we started from. So we absolutely want to avoid that happening if at all possible.
I guess with this bit, I guess we can talk about the speed tech that's in this part that we can't actually do. There's cop skip at the very start where obviously you can push it's wild. You can push, before we got to the first rooftop, before we met Kamiyama, you can push one of the cops like over with an NPC spawn, but something found also, because that was found by Wisdom Boy, but something else found by Wisdom Boy is the ability to be invulnerable to the cops game over. And this is wild. Like, it's very precise. I have the actual, like, we've had the video for a while for showing us how to do it. The way to do it, you have to, it's so wild. You have to get the actual text box for the policeman, and then also go into like the club at the same time, or like something similar. There's an NPC you can speak to, a bark you can speak to down on Pink Street, which is right next to one of the cops. He takes you in the club, you come out of the club, you're inside of the hitbox for the policeman, which basically gives you a weird like little game over where you say you try again, but instead of putting you back to the original checkpoint, which is all the way back at the Sadachi Dojo, which is why we're not allowed to mess this route up at all, it actually does this weird thing where it kind of like puts you slightly out of bounds, and at that point, instead of resetting you can just walk past every cop, every single one. You get the text box every time for, oh no, they're gonna like catch me, etc. But you can just walk past all of them. And it's wild because like the setup for that is like so exceedingly precise for like both cop skips that we just can't put it in a run. But it's so fascinating because like obviously if we could just skip past this bit, we could save literally minutes. But there is unfortunately no feasible way outside of that.
And we've tried.
We've tried a lot.
Yeah. So now, unfortunately, we have to head back pretty much the same way that we came. But we get a nice view of the subway this time around. If you are a train enthusiast, this is your moment. That's it. That's the only visual difference. We're just headed back. Once again, avoiding this wandering police officer.
So this used to be a really, like, somewhat complex part of the run, where in Akiyama's part, after you beat Ihara, we would go and speak to the guy at the usual weapon van, because the weapon van gets lifted onto the rooftops because of the rooftops being a new area. And in this part, we would take Saejima up to the weapon van, which isn't at this bit, but you can get to there from this bit by going to a bit further on from where PLA is going to be going. And that's where we would buy the sledgehammers. And in Tanamura's part is also where we would go to get the steel tonfas. But now we obviously don't do any of that because baseball comes on.
Baseball subsumes all, but that is why it is the great American pastime, don't you know?
I don't, I'm European.
I'm Canadian, so I also have no idea. We have lacrosse as our official sport.
Football. It's really weird actually, because like there is a good subset of like American sports like basketball and obviously American football that like are really popular over here. Baseball never took off, despite the fact that we have cricket, and cricket is garbage.
There must be some fans of cricket, surely. I've always wondered.
It seems to just be an excuse to get drunk. I'm not gonna lie. Very
But
much
that
not a
is
fan.
most sporting events at the end of the day, I'm given to understand.
Yeah, true, actually.
All you watching at home, of course, are sports fans. You are watching this baseball game right now, so you are now with those people. You are expected to put on shirts and hats and cheer for whatever logo happens to be on those shirts and hats. But you'll have fun, I think. I've heard. So at long last, we have arrived at the Millennium Tower, which is where we will be encountering basically an entire baseball team worth of Majima family members.
What?
Don't make Minami the pitcher.
I think you might be right, yeah. So what else are we going to employ for this but our trusty baseball bats? There's not a whole lot to this. There's the guys who will grab you, but we can flurry out of their grab, which is very convenient. You'll also notice I'm pointing the camera in a particular way to attempt to spawn enemies south of Saejima at this moment, because with the hopes that they will walk into my flurries, although I do have to aim slightly better than that. But there's really not a lot to it other than beating them all up.
So as you can probably tell, we're going to be ending this part with a whole bunch of spare baseball bats. Saejima is essentially the courier of baseball bats for the finale. That's why we need to pay attention to like how many bats we've got. This is basically just 4 phases. There's going to be 3 phases of normal ads. Then, for some reason, Minami didn't get enough baseball earlier, so we're going to have to deal with him. And it's super important coming out to the Minami fight that we have at least 1 hit on 1 baseball bat.
Sir.
And as PLA said, the flurry to get out of that grab is hyper important for a certain NPC coming up in a certain character's chapter, whose name I won't say because I will accidentally say a very naughty word about him, because I do not like that man.
Stand up, please, Murata. you. 3 more. I thought we might get the triple. That's unfortunate. Any more? Whoa, that's the one. That's the aforementioned. Please, sir? Didn't mean to do that. This is a slow heat action with the baseball bat. It's maybe the one thing you want to avoid the most. I do have a nasty habit of triggering at guns. It's probably not the last time we see that particular heat action. Hello, sir. Actually, I would like to take you in the opposite direction, so let's go that way. You're correct. There we go. Minami has like a weird thing he can do. He develops a flamethrower technology by drinking alcohol and then lighting his breath on fire. Luckily, he didn't go into that because that can lose us time. And at long last, we have ended up in our confrontation with Majima, who met us, of course, at the batting cages. Majima and Saejima are both old baseball fans, and they come here to fraternize with each other, share their love of course, the great game. So, where else would be a better place for this final confrontation but here, with Majima's, for some reason, neon tattoos. So as the fight begins, I'm going to immediately pull out a bat and block because 95% of the time Majima will stab forward and hopefully give him a knockdown. There we go. And now we will carefully negotiate him over towards the wall. Again, he tried to block me. So I should have, well, let's see how many bats I use. Third. Majima, don't misbehave, please. Now is not the time for that. Okay, good enough. So I'll have 7 baseball bats left on Saejima.
Roger.
And that's part 2. Alright, so here, starting in Majima's past 15 years prior, I'm going to be mashing through a voice cutscene, unfortunately, for a very long time. It never ends. We did it. Oh my goodness. With that done, we get to see the title card. I'm gonna have a little cough candy for myself.
The character that's probably been the testing for everything in this run, and also the one that's changed the most. Tanamura's route is wild, and Tanamura is also the character that I alluded to earlier as the one that is exceptionally precise with baseball bats. Tanamura's going to have about 7 of them for money problems. And the issue here is that, obviously, we need to keep those going over every single part. The nice thing is, Tanamura's third chapter is one of the shortest in this entire game and in the entire series of Yakuza speedruns, because we literally just take a taxi and take a taxi back. That's all we do, which is great. That's actually really nice. But very important for this, obviously, baseball bats. Importantly, 9 of them, because we need to get these 2 fake plates, and then we need to have enough money to taxi for the entirety of the rest of Tanamura's part. which is actually quite a lot of times. But shouldn't be that surprising since we taxi a lot with the other characters. But yeah, we actually, for Tanamura, for 2 of his set pieces, it requires actual taxis out of town. But unfortunately, I hate Yakuza 4 for this. We are supposed to get 2 silver plates for this guy to get information from him, at which point the game kind of alludes, you can play Mahjong, which, hello, resident Mahjong lover fruit here. Unfortunately, as you saw, we bought 2 fake silver plates we can just give over, because after the mandatory Shogi in OG2, RGG obviously wanted a way for people to get through this if they don't know how to play Mahjong, which makes me upset. One day there will be mandatory Mahjong. I'll be very happy.
I am hoping for that as well. I also have a great amount of regret about that moment.
Yes. But weirdly enough, Tanamura's tutorial is going to be against a well-known side sub-story character from these games who goes by the name of Mr. Try and Hit Me. He's about to learn about baseball.
He has never encountered baseball in his life, clearly. He's been coasting through, thinking that, oh, no one can reach me with their fists, ha ha ha. But little does he know. What Tanamura is actually supposed to do, by the way, is one of his many tricks that he has in his possession is the ability to parry blows that come at him when he blocks. He can parry in the first frames, but the reality is we will not be doing that. We'll be doing this. Now, since this animation didn't quite end before this, we get to keep the flurry, as I think we talked about earlier. And that becomes very important on Tanamura. We're trying to keep as much durability on our bats as we possibly can. So running out here, we're going to be teleported over to Theater Square. Tanamura is, of course, a police officer, so he hears from his police scanner periodically. He goes and he solves little things. During standard gameplay, you can listen to it for little crimes or events that need solving in addition to his usual sub-stories. And that's a bit of fun, but we will not be doing that here. We will be smacking Hata with a bat.
So if you see PLA doing that first initial hit, it's to guarantee the animation is long enough to make sure that we don't lose any hits on the flurry. Just in case. Yeah. We used to... The fun thing for this is we used to actually really engage with Tanamura's fighting style. We used to get his extended combo. To do that, you've probably seen some of the NPCs around town. The blue arrows above their head, we'll be passing one of them now. They give you experience for talking to them and getting like memos on how to play. We used to need like 2 of those just to get Tanamura to level up enough. There is one of those people who do give experience, but they give an actual extra reward as well, and we must make sure not to interact with them until we get to Kiryu's part. Yeah, that blue arrow right there.
Yes. So now we'll just head back to Little Asia. A place we see some of in other games, but I think this is the first game in the series where we really interact with Little Asia. Is that right, Frub?
Kinda, yeah, actually, because I don't think we do in 3. And it doesn't exist in 1 and 2. It doesn't even exist in 3.
I don't think so. I'm certain someone more knowledgeable will have a better idea, but yeah, I'm not sure.
How I'm forgetting, honestly. But super importantly, oh yeah, it doesn't exist in 3. Yeah, it doesn't. Super importantly, in this game, you actually need a character that can speak, is it Tagalog? To be able to get in, which is Tanamura. Tanamura is a good old, the actual good way of describing Tanamura. The game likes to kind of like call him the like parasite of Kamurocho, because like he's supposed to be like a lazy cop not doing much, but he's got his own stuff that he's looking into. But he's really a jack of all trades, especially like when it comes to the speedrun as well, with like how many times we like changed him up from using tonfas back in the day and his normal combos, and the absolute awfulness that was his final chapter, final boss. Oh, the old route for that was awful. We'll explain that when we get to it, because we will have time.
Yeah.
But right now, we are going after someone who goes by the name of Yasuko Saejima. which is Saijima's sister, and you will see her in a second. You might recognize her. Not this guy, he's the doorstop. Shock and horror. It's Lily from Akiyama's section.
What's going on?
Unfortunately, more baseball fans have turned up.
This game has never-ending baseball fans for some reason. I'm not sure why. So we'll pull out our bat. Oh, I did lose one of my flurries. That's unfortunate. You. I do have the ability to level up, and I will.
So, knockdown, evasion, again. Essence of finishing, again. But also, regard, which allows you to guard if your guard is broken. Simple as that. And those are actually the only upgrades you need on Tanamura. That's it.
I am going to take one more a little later, but it's not going to be necessary and may not even be helpful.
Combo speed, question mark?
I'm going to take double evasion, just because it can sometimes help in the finale with dodging.
Yeah.
Now, so we're going to take our taxi here to the docks, where the next set piece is going to take place. Men have kidnapped Yasuko, so we're going to get her back, or something.
The same Shibata family from Akiyama's part. Unfortunate on Mikoshiba moving away there.
Yeah. He always gets out of the way. I don't know how he does it. Oh well. I think I can manage to... I don't have to be too concerned about bats. Because of how many I have on Saijima. I think I should be okay. So we have a series of QTs to get out of the way of various things in this part. Everybody wants Tanamura's blood. We don't care. Goodbye. This one is X. Directly left for another one. But we're going to go to the right. Goodbye. Now this man up here is going to push over an oil barrel. He thinks he's got this whole game figured out. We're going to slip on this. We're going to fall over. We're going to look so silly. That's what he wants for us. Unfortunately for him, we have a method of counteracting that, which is just to gently mash R1. We're not going to fall over. We would fall over if we didn't do this, but we're all good. No problems whatsoever.
It's so good.
It's fantastic. This is going to be square with the QT coming up. Now we're going to lead on this doorway. Proceed in here. I'm going to take out my bat here to frighten this man. So oh, come on, Kikuchi. But hopefully he doesn't shoot at me. He still won't, though. It's okay. He did. It's fine. It's okay. It is what it is.
He was just helping push us forward, that's all.
Yeah, that's actually... Ooh. What a unique thing. I've never done that. Not the correct play, but that's okay. Actually, it might have been slightly faster. So we're going to try to very carefully beat up these two men. One with a gun, one with a sword. Because we don't want them to do an expensive, in terms of time, QTE. That was not a good flurry to perform, but I'm fine. Hiragi, please go away. Sakakibara, please go away. You. Alright. Now, very carefully, we'll try not to utilize bats. There we go. Might have saved that flurry, which would be great. And that's the end of the set piece.
I guess now would be a decent time to talk about one of the biggest kind of issues of Yakuza 4 and it's failing for us as a speedrun. You might be wondering as well, why are we using baseball bats? Like, if you've seen other Yakuza runs, you've seen that guns are good, and you might be wondering, are guns good in this? You saw with Akiyama earlier, yeah, guns are good. Here's the issue. Certain characters can't equip certain weapons. So, certain characters, there's just a long set of voiced cutscenes that PLA's gonna have to mash through, which will sum up in a second. The issue is that certain characters can't equip certain weapons. Now, this all boils down to guns. The lone Hotfix of Akiyama, he can't equip guns because he's a civilian. That makes sense. Kiryu can equip guns because he's ex-Yakuza. Makes sense. Saejima literally shot 18 people. He can equip guns. But this man, right here, Tanimura, who has a taunt with a gun, is going to use a gun in a set piece coming up, is not allowed to use guns, despite his profession being the one that uses said gun. And that is an issue for the finale, and that's why we baseball bat. It's frustrating.
It is very,
very frustrating.
Yeah. If Tanimura could use guns as well, that would definitely strongly validate the gun route. Absolutely, because his fight is the worst by far and could most use something like a revolver where you just won't miss anything. The bat does tend to miss quite a deal and can cause problems with QTs in that fight as well, but we'll see that when we get to it. And thankfully, that's the end of the mashing for this part. My goodness. So we're supposed to be going to rescue the suitcase with money in it from the parking lot, but instead we are encountering Nair, who can't be understood because she speaks Tagalog. As we talked about earlier, luckily Tanimura also speaks that language, so they can communicate with each other. She is Tanimura's master for training, and we will not be doing that training, luckily. Hello, Nair, and goodbye, Nair. Little Asia is very tight and hard to navigate, so you will see me bumping up against many a thing. This is actually a sub-story starting up here, which we cannot avoid during the run. There's 2 times to start it up. This is the better time, so we're going to do it right now. The first half of it anyway, and then we're not going to worry about it anymore. No, Nadine. Nadine? As per usual, Shady Man will be getting a baseball bat to the face. Oh, I thought I had a knockdown on him, but it's still fine. Sometimes it just doesn't trigger heat action. We don't know why that is. Always pleasant when that occurs. In the background of this scene, we're going to be paying attention because there might be a fight spawn. I don't see him though, so I think we're good. Now, because we're trying to go as fast as possible, although we could run to the parking lot, just go through the door, which is not that far away, we're going to taxi down to the parking lot. Very carefully at this point, we're going to avoid taxiing to the golf course, which has been added as a taxi option for Tanimura. Very important we don't do that. That is a terrible thing to do, because you teleport over there, and it's a whole big to-do. Let's taxi back out. Street. You'd hear the game sort of absorb the sound effect there. Yakuza 4 tends to do that. Sometimes it will take that sound effect and play it later. Not sure why that happens either. It's a bit of a mysterious game at times. So we're going to head up to the rooftops to meet up with our mysterious caller just now. Where I will have to mash through more voice dialogue. Very important, there are several places in the run where you don't want to be holding a particular direction out of a cutscene or out of a loading zone because it will sometimes cause you to run in a direction you don't want to run. Coming up those stairs is one sort of instance of that. There's ways you can run back into the loading zone and lose some time. This is the mashing part. So we speak to Katsuragi.
Unsurprisingly, Katsuragi is a member of the Shibata family that we've been mostly dealing with for the entirety of the game so far.
Well, after that call, we are going to run back to Little Asia with our briefcase. And then we're going to go back out with the briefcase again. Because the game provides you little moments where you can, this is a good time to go do sub-stories if you want to, or things like, camera please. Go do sub-stories or things like that. But we don't want to do that. We want to get right back into the action.
And remember what we said earlier about the PC version being slower than the console versions, but actually the fastest version of speedrun. We're about to show you and explain to you why. This is thanks to Dr. T-Chops for finding this and removing our only bathroom break in this run. As I get older, I respect the bathroom breaks more and more. But this is a giant bit of time save coming up. This is really cool tech.
It is worth the pain of having to wait a little longer, for me at least, but yeah, I do miss it as well. So back out with the briefcase, we're going to head over to meet with Katsuragi at the base of Millennium Tower, and that's where we're going to perform a certain little trick. I'm going to very carefully try not to drop my controller cable as we Alt-Tab. Oh, hello keyboard, thank you. And we want to Alt-Tab back in, and I should be able to skip dialogue with my keyboard while I very carefully plug my controller back in. Otherwise, this would be a 4-minute unskippable segment of dialogue. But for some reason, after doing this little controller thing that we can only do on PC, we can now just R1X through the dialogue as usual, skip it all. They get confused as they walk around through the scene. And we're already done. That was 3.5 minutes of time save.
Yep.
Really good.
Yeah, like, complain about losing my bathroom break, but honestly, that is such a big skip. The reason why it only works on PC is the text box that appears. On the PC version, the audio still carries on in the background, like the game still plays in the background. It doesn't actually stop, which is one of the reasons why it works. I think Dr. Cheechops knows more about it. But on console, for example, if you disconnect your controller, as you probably know, it just does that thing of, oh, wireless controller disconnected, etc., etc. That's why it only works on the PC version. With most Yakuza runs, we don't actually have that much specific tech to a specific platform, but for Yakuza 4 and its cursed glory, PC is fastest, despite not being the fastest version, but it is.
You're also seeing here the sealed... Hello?
Where's the man?
Well, that was interesting.
Where's the man?
I'm going to say it. That's never happened before. So the steel briefcase is a very great weapon, as you might have witnessed in the previous fight. Unfortunately, that is now being taken away from us, so we're going to have to revert to a good old baseball bat. Yeah, that was interesting.
The same as you.
Oh, that's a terrible angle, unfortunately. I was hoping I would get you.
Was hoping he would get a bit closer.
Yeah. What I'll do, if I need to, is grab a bicycle to finish everything off. Or just do this. So here is another chase segment. We're going to very carefully run after this guy and tackle him 5 or possibly 6 times because we're still... I'm not 100% certain that 5 is enough. So we're going to catch up to him, hit him a bunch of times. Closer. Oops. Alright, quick turn please. Number 4, jump. Number 5. Well, you know what? We're going to see if 5 is enough right now. Here we go. So the goal up here is if we have hit him enough times, we're going to grab a bottle, carefully throw it his way, like so. Please, game? That has been happening so much to me lately, I don't know why. Usually it just locks right onto him. But here we are. So we have to be careful here. There we go. On this part of the roof, the angles really get weird, so you want to make double sure that you're getting him with the bottle. Don't know why I missed him the first time, that's unfortunate, but here we are. So that's the end of the chase. We have our briefcase back, so we can beat up these 3 men. This guy in front is by far the most annoying of the 3. I'm going to start by focusing on him. But the briefcase is really phenomenally good, actually. The damage is astonishing. A little more from Miyazaki.
Since the finisher is like a second to 2 seconds, it's super fast and also does a lot of damage. It's such a good weapon. We wish we could actually use it more.
We would like to find a way to keep it for the remainder of the run. Unfortunately, this is the last time we are allowed to hit people with $3 million yen.
Imagine Tanamura's finale with the suitcase.
Oh, that would be good. Another chase. This time we are running away. These guys will tackle me. There's really nothing to be done about it. They're too good at their jobs. Especially, I think, in the remaster. They may be better at their jobs. Though, these things will happen. Oh, don't trip on the garbage can, however. I would like to quick turn in the opposite direction, but these things also will happen.
As we were saying earlier, it is genuinely hard to get these quick turns out.
The bats are a little tight at this point. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and use all of them for the remainder of Tanamura's part. But this guy, Toyozaki, is a particular concern. I think I'm out. Yeah. Here's the final 3. Just sort of wing it and hope for the best. He went down, which is lovely. That never happens. Hopefully get him on the backswing. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna grab the flag. Ooh. Sir?
This is why he's an issue. He is very aggressive, has a bit of hyper armor, and likes to guard literally everything.
I was hoping for that.
So,
all right.
PLA is having to change to using other things. As long as we can do at least 4 flurries, we'll be fine. He is being
Toyozaki,
a pain.
please. All right, let's try it. That'll do. Terrible.
Doesn't matter the route that we've ever had before. This guy has been one of the biggest pains in the backside, just over the entirety of anything. Tonfas, super spicy knife, baseball bats. This guy, he sucks.
So here we're coming up on what is by far the shortest chapter in the game, at least maybe the series. It's very, very short. We're going to go to the archive room with Zhao here, and we are going to look for some evidence of something. I don't recall what. But we do have to pay our own taxi fare, unfortunately. The mysterious, moody archive room. We're just gonna go here. Please, thank you. There's the file that we're looking for, and we're done. So we want to taxi back. We're going 2 up. And let's return to Little Asia. That'll be that for this chapter. That fight spawn could get us, that is possible, but he didn't. We are back, we are home, and that's the end of the chapter already.
Oi.
Again, unfortunately, we're not going to get to keep the briefcase for long. We're going to be going to return it to its rightful owner, a certain Akiyama of Sky Finance, which is, after obviously Saijima Kiryu, the second interaction between our protagonists in this game. I really like the way that it actually brings the characters together in this game and the way that everyone interacts with each other.
Done a little bit differently in 5.
Who's this guy?
Baseball man looks around and says, "Who are you people?"
Have I ever told you about the wonderful sport that's known as baseball? Yeah, with this, we're just finishing up Tanimura's part. It's just this little bit of story, and then we're going to go to his last set piece, where there is actually some really cool speed tech coming up, which... Was it found by you or was it found by Toji?
It was Toji. I think people have played around with it, but Toji found the way to do it every time. Well, I say every time. I will hopefully pull it off, and it'll save us a little time on an upcoming chase.
Moshi moshi.
This is not a voiced set of dialogue. Don't be fooled by the moshi moshi. Akiyama and Tanimura are discussing Arai and Mishima, who was he was with what's his name? Ihara, who we fought in Akiyama's first chapter. They both were there when Arai was shot. Mishima was the one who shot him, I think. So it's just a whole roundabout, something going on in the plot. Prue may know more than me.
That's pretty much it.
At any rate, we are going to taxi to the docks once again, which is 1 down. Because now we have the golf course. very careful. There we are.
We don't get to do golf in this run? Aw, what do you mean it's not the Yakuza 3?
Yeah. Maybe one day. We'll find something in that golf course of note. But not right now. As we confront Mishima at the docks, we are going to encounter Sugiyuchi, who it turns out, not a good cop. He's a bad cop. He's got shoes. These shoes are not ball diamond legal, and that's what Tanemura noticed, which gave him the indication that Sugiyuchi might be up to no good. At any rate, we're now going to engage in a boat chase. There's a trick. I'm not going to explain it until I'm done because I'm going to be paying attention. But let's see if we can do it. Yep, there you go.
Nice. Very good.
Very happy to have done that. Yeah, so at a certain distance away from Sugiyuchi's boat, he just stops moving, which you can't do with a boat, but he stops. And then we can circle around, skirting the border of the distance at which he stops, come at him from the front, tackle, do that. That was actually perfect. Now we're going to engage in a little fight with Sugiyuchi. 2 UTEs. We're going to fail this one because it's slightly faster. I think I have 1 bat to deal with, but that should be okay. I'll probably engage him.
Want to say you're 1.5?
Might be. We'll see. I'm going to engage him in some bat heat if I need to. So it shouldn't be the end of the world, but we'll see. Oh, I do have an extra 1. That's very happy. I'm very happy to hear that. So Sugiyuchi likes to hop up. We're going to ignore him, go back in. Oh, not what I want. Knock him down. This. Let's engage him in 2 swings, hopefully. Oh, I don't like that. Punch you. He's dead. Okay. Little concerning, but that's fine.
Yeah, this fight basically all depends on how many bats you still have left at the end, which is why, as you can see, it's so important to try and, like, finish certain fights with, like, not losing the durability. As you can see, there's, like, nice backup strats that PLA has to be able to deal with that. And it also means that the majority of Saijima's baseball bats will be going to Tanemura.
Yes, that's very true. I should be able to conserve a couple with Kiryu up here. Actually, I could grab a couple more for safety. I might consider doing that. But to start with, Kiryu will be batless as well. Starting off in Okinawa, where we last left him. With the beautiful skies. It's Hamazaki. Where did he come from? We thought he died in Saijima's part. You didn't see that. It was a cutscene, but he's okay. Here he is. So he's also escaped the prison, and he's talking to Kiryu, whom he stabbed before. It's complicated.
A little bit.
But this is now the Hamazaki redemption arc, so that's what we are along. Or they're attempting to, anyway.
Nah.
IG in the house again.
There he is.
So, as we alluded to earlier, Yakuza 3 revolves around Kiryu and Haruka starting an orphanage over in Okinawa. This is the actual orphanage. You get to see some of the kids here very briefly. You get to see them later on when we do Yakuza 6.
Unfortunately, in Yakuza 6, I don't think we're going to see any more of Kiryu's lovely shirt from Yakuza 3 with the floral patterns.
No. Probably shouldn't say this out loud. Kiryu's got the dumpy in that game, though. Like, I'm not even kidding. Shoutouts to the time I did 6 during main GDQ. The Yeti in chat posted an emote of a peach during that. Don't think I didn't notice.
No.
Yakuza 3. This is the Tamashiro family office from Yakuza 3. IGG are very good at reusing kind of like their assets that they've used in kind of previous games, and this is going to be the first set piece for Kiryu right now.
It is. Speaking of reused assets, here is our old pal Saito again for the 4th time.
Now, the nice thing is, if you're not fans of Saito, you're going to enjoy what happens in the set piece.
Sir? Oops. Alright, let's beat someone up here for a moment. Oops. Never mind, Saito will beat me up. I don't think I'm gonna get the heat I was looking for. What if can you let me throw you? No, you're even gonna dodge that guy's throw, eh? Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, that's why we don't like Saito. He's paying the backside.
Alright.
Saito will regularly just not behave, which is a shame.
I'm gonna take bounding throw there a little bit unusually, but let's see if it benefits me at all. Probably won't. Saito, please. There we go.
Unfortunately, Kiryu has a much harder time of breaking through the counter that Saito does with the red heat that you see. With Saejima, you're able to do, obviously with his charge attacks, get a little bit of hyper armor from it, but we can't do that with Kiryu, sadly. But we can do a little bit of gut punching, which usually...
if we like to, which apparently I didn't want to do. There we go.
I also mention as well, the Kiryu you start with in Yakuza 4 is actually almost a fully powered Kiryu. You start off with a lot of upgrades. But it's also very important that PLA is going to be grabbing every single healing item that we can get in this set piece. Money is tight.
That's true. Actually, I don't think I need that one, but I'm gonna grab it anyway. Sir? What? Since when do you block?
Don't think I've seen that before either.
I will be taking your pistol. Oops. Downstairs with me. And let's see if I can pull off a fun little thing with Saito. I sometimes don't manage it, but let's find out. I'm gonna walk actually right up to you. That's good. So because we have a little bit of an invisible wall here, we can use the height of the stairs to cycle Saito around, make a fool of him for finally once in our lives. Oh, it's actually really satisfying.
Yeah. If the way it works is, I think this was found by Tapioca. The way it works is that you are like on a slight different elevation, so you can just keep attacking. If this was Yakuza 3, where you can't hit enemies on the ground, this would not work. But with 4 allowing you to hit enemies on the floor again, yeah, it works. And of course, it'd be against Saito. It's extremely satisfying.
That was maybe the best Saito I've ever had, so I'm quite happy with that. Usually he finds a way to stand up and cause me nothing but trouble. But that was good. Now, Tanimura and Akiyama are finding ways to interact, as we mentioned earlier. Paying respects to his 2 fallen comrades. Yes, the other one also. That was in a cutscene we skipped, I would imagine. There's Akiyama coming on the scene. Police are finding some way to investigate Sky Finance, which seems unfair. I wonder what that's about. I didn't mention, but Kiryu has, of course, met up with Yasuko. And is now leading her back into Kamurocho, where we're going to encounter an old friend, Tate.
So this chapter is basically a lot of story. This is once more like Tamura's chapter 3. This is one of the shorter ones in the run. Do a little bit of spring cleaning at some point. Get some items.
Here, actually I'm going to head to the back alley and take a bit of a safety just to get us the money for an extra couple of baseball bats. I'm going to grab an item back here. I wouldn't usually, but we may as well. Gotta look up there. Get ourselves a locker key for a Staminon Spark, which sells for a good chunk of change. Sorry, Yuya, I will not be talking to you today.
I think it's 30k, if I remember the old route right. Nouveau Rich. That's a very rare enemy. If you beat them, they will usually drop you a bunch of money. In, like, the form of an item, of course, but either, like, one of the plates that you can sell, or a healing item, or sometimes an actual bad healing item, but that's rare.
So at long last, we will be grabbing the locker key radar from that man, which sells for some good money, along with this, which I just grabbed. And right over here is the end of the chapter.
Majima being arrested and led away for plot reasons.
He loved baseball too much.
Oh, who's that guy?
Somebody's eyes, menacing, yet kind at the same time. Once more, it is raining in Kamurocho, but we're going to not be deterred. We're going to head down to Ebisu Pond as per usual and pick up some baseball bats. So I should have enough for 19. I'm probably not going to take 20 unless I'm certain that it's safe to do so. That fight spawn will not be troubling us because we're going in out of the rain. Let's see. No, that's too tight. So we'll get 19.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Oops. Oops. There we go. Did it. Menu delay is a thing. Let's leave. Let's peek around the corner and see what's waiting. Nobody. Happy to see it. So we're heading back to Noose Arena to check in on Yasuko and Date. Unfortunately, we discover Yasuko is missing and Date has been beaten up. Who would do that to him? Some miscreants, I think.
What do you mean that somebody that was Date was looking after has gone missing again in his care?
Never
Man is a
happened.
bad babysitter.
Let's hope that no one ever leaves him with any real babies. So where has Yasuko gone? Let's take a look in this direction. For some reason, I have a hunch. And as we're following our hunch, we're going to make sure to avoid any fight spawns that we might encounter. And we very likely will. This is Fight Spawn Alley. Not bad so far. There's NY Hot Dog. We have never gotten a chance to go inside, unfortunately.
One day, hopefully.
One day.
That was actually a really nice bit.
Sometimes the game is nice, and sometimes every slot has a fight spawn. It's always one or the other.
Yeah.
Where are these three going? Two of which look somewhat familiar, but Kiryu's never seen them before. Who could they be? Oh, it turns out it's those rogues, Akiyama and Tanamura, otherwise known by me as Akimura. They are now going to get their own turn at tasting a baseball bat.
こっちはいつでもいいぞ。
覚悟はいいな。行くぞ。
This can be a bit of a complicated fight, so I'll just take a moment here. I'm actually going to go after Tanamura first. Ooh, that was good. He jumped up, but because Akiyama was down, we didn't get a QTE that would otherwise result. Unfortunately, we were knocked down, but that is okay.
Yeah, beautiful fight other than the knockdown. The
Pain-free.
QT that can happen is like 45 seconds long. It's horrible.
Yes, I actually got it in the
Very
world
nice
record,
fight.
so it's good to avoid it here. And there we go. Yeah, it was a relatively pain-free fight. That fight before baseball bats was abysmal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just a really painful. Because you're just punching them. It was just a painful fight. We also
Like
used to gamble
95%
here.
of the time. Oh, gosh.
Would you like to talk about the gambling route, Froob, a little bit?
No. No, I wouldn't. This run, it's been so cursed for such a long time. The one really nice thing about the baseball bat route is it takes out one of the worst aspects of any Yakuza speedrun. I want you to look at the timer below the stream right now. Take a note of like what point we've hit at the run right now. The old route. We used to have shades of Yakuza 3. When we realized in Yakuza 3 that guns were good, surprised from what we were saying earlier, guns are still good. We can use them on Kiryu, we can use them on Saejima. So we pulled a reverse Yakuza 3, where instead of doing blackjack for the gambling, which only has like a 30 to 33% chance of failing your run, we had to get a little creative. So there's a roulette zero jewel at the local pharmacy that's next to the ending cutscene part in the chapter before this one. We used to get that. That makes it so that roulette rolls one of 0 or double 0. We needed to sell all of the stuff to get 100,000 yen so that we could get 1,000 chips, go into roulette, use the 50-50 jewel, which would make it land on either 0 or double 0, and then bet. And it is a literal straight 50-50. There is no way of knowing what it's going to be. So, for months and for years of this run, about 2.5 hours into this run, you would bet it all on a 50-50. It was awful. Now, I don't want to name names, but there's some idiot, me, who thinks that there might be a way to bring that 50-50 back and to do a hybrid bat plus gun route.
And I'll go on record and say I don't think it's going to end up there, but if it does, feel free to chastise me using this video clip as evidence.
I don't think it will either, but here's the issue. It requires someone to test it, and none of us want to do it, because it will just end up being massively cursed. Like, not a single one of us want to touch that. So, that stays as a dream. Like, literally, we just do not want to test it. Because coming up, you're going to see a big long set piece. You're going to get to see the Kamurocho Hills for the first time. Technically, you kind of go there in 2, but you're going to get to finally see it. There's a lot of points in Kamurocho Hills where bats are faster, but there's also a lot of points where guns are faster. And then for the finale, to get through some of the nastier fights, avoiding their QTEs, guns are a little bit faster and better. So it's kind of wild. There is a big theory, and I hate it. I hate it so much. But the nice thing about the baseball route out is no 50-50, just end your run. If anyone ever wanted to run this game, do not do the gun route. Do the bat route. It is obviously world record, so it is obviously faster, but also, you know, no 50-50. If you're a newer runner, you could obviously make a safety save. You might be thinking, well, why don't you just make a safety save? Making a safety save, loading it, going back to the casino would literally take over a minute. So, yeah, that's why no safety save.
Oh, I've got a man. I don't want a man. There's a pistol on the floor somewhere. There it is. I'm going to try to use it exclusively on Horie, actually, if I can. Because he's a pain. And then, there's a baseball bat. Oh, there he goes for the wind-up. Yeah. Unfortunate. The best hit of the bat on the flurry is the final hit. It does an astonishing amount of damage. There we go. But, if it misses, that's never a good thing. Good. That's relatively pain-free. Except for all the pain. But in terms of Fourier, that was okay. So as we head into the mall proper, we're going to be confronted by some ominous mannequins. And they foretell the coming of the Dark Lord of this game. The hated member of Yakuza society. Even the other Yakuza don't like him. Not this man. It is the man approaching us from behind, Nakano Watari.
It's like this man.
He is a horrendous, spiteful creature. Let's see what we can do to handle him. Okay. Don't you dare hit me from the back. I have bats. What am I doing? Careful. Yeah, is a hit, but not a knockdown, which I wanted. Painless Nakano Watari. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It should. That goes awfully every single time. The guys grab you, you have guns, you have bats, it never works. That worked.
Yep.
Forget anything I've ever said. Maybe Nakano Watari is in fact a bright light of this run. But probably not. So yeah, as we proceed through the mall here, oh, this guy's still with us. We're just going to be beating everybody up with bats, and then try to get the double hit on this barricade if I can. I didn't. And back up. For another confrontation with Nakano Watari. But with less grabby men. So that might be better. Or not. And try that. No, he jumped. Okay. I understand your concerns, Nakano Watari, and I will address them at a future meeting, but for now you can go down. I'm going to put away my bat and head around the corner Where Iguchi here has a pistol, which I will happily take. And I will use it here for a room with Suzumiya and his two little goons. He has a shotgun. Camera, please. Yeah, that can happen. I would like Takai behind you if I can. Oh, that works. Oh, but then I smoked. I told you that Kiryu was not going to smoke, but in fact he did. Please stop rolling around. This is not a circus. This is real life. Thank you. So now I'm going to hopefully pick up Suzumiya's shotgun. I think I saw it at my feet. It can sometimes fly across the room. It did. There it is. And let's bring it along. Why not? Funny little thing about shotguns in this game. The last shot on every shotgun fails to hit anything. I won't show it off here, obviously, because that's slow and unpleasant, but yeah, very bad time, particularly casually. And if you're confused about why that happens, I'm confused too. I was hoping I had the wall bounce there. So as we take enemies out here, more enemies will file in. But I'm gonna focus on Suzumiya if I can, as I'm hoping to get his shotgun from him for a second time. Sir, behave yourself, thank you. Stand up, please. There you are. There you are. More guys. Immediately shoot again. And that is the end of that shot. We'll just mop them up and that'll be that. And up the elevator we shall go. Let's just try a flurry immediately. That's the wrong direction. How about this way? That's better. You don't know how to use a baseball bat, sir, so I'm going to ask you to put that away. Okay. After this fight, I may be disoriented, so let's see if we can find our way out of the room. We did. Good, good, good. I will take your gun as well. Not really necessary, but I will do it anyway. And when I drop it this time, I'm going to try not to smoke because they are the same button. Pick it up. Continue. This man threatens to shoot us, but he will not. Bat? I have no bats. I have no bats. Okay. And flurry into the crowd, hopefully. Yeah, that was decent. And you. Good. Keep leaving me one little bit of stamina on my bat, which is enough to flurry with. Even though it takes 10, you only need one. This man will grab me. Yep. He's a teleporter. He likes to do that. 5 guys in this room. I have not yet found a way to flurry them consistently, but let's see if I can do it this time. That was pretty good. Did not mean to do this, however. Still have enough for 2 flurries on this bat, so we are certainly not at a lack of bats. QTE, and we're through to the dark room. Yes, it is a dark room. It is as annoying as it sounds. I'm going to be looking at the mini-map. I've been looking at the mini-map this whole game, but it becomes increasingly important in this room, obviously, as you can see. Somewhere there is... It's not you. Where was that?
That guy.
Was it him? Yes, it is Adachi. But I don't want to use a speed action on him. Thank you. He has a gun. This man thinks he knows baseball, but he is wrong. So we're gonna shoot some guys. And then, that's a bat. Give me this. That's not what I wanted, but it will kill him at the very least. And one more man. No, he was the last. Okay. And pick up a key from the well-lit portion at the center of the room, which I'm standing at currently. Run past him to, you wouldn't know it, but there's a door. Run up the stairs, and who are we confronted with? But 4 men, 3 of which we have seen before in this very mall. This is the Elite 4 of Kamurocho Hills, and if we're not careful, they will slow us down. I'm gonna immediately pull out a bat and run this way. Play like this. Once again, I would like Suzumiya's gun if I can help it. I then would like to put away my bat, which I did do, so I can shoot. Hello, Nakano Watari. Just every time I see them move, they are immediately vulnerable to being shot. Not when they're rolling back and forth as Nakano Watari was doing there, and that's it. So, back to it. Yeah. I killed him. Oh, that's something.
Nice catch
back
on him,
to
yeah.
That. We have 3 equipped, 4 unequipped, so 7 total. Let's see what we get. If Ijuin is kind, do this, and then this. Okay. So, 6.5 bats left on Kiryu, 0 on Tanomura, 7 on Saejima, 4 on Akiyama, might have been 5. So we've got
5.
Tons. Was it 5?
5.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely loads of bats. We didn't need the safety at all, but good to have. I will probably still like to use them anyway. Just skip through these. Saejima has found the remainder of the boys.
Oh yeah, I guess we should mention there's a lot of plot that just happened from the 2 cutscenes we skipped. To sum it up, there's about 3 to 4 backstabbings in the plot that happens. Also, Daigo's being silly again, so let's go sort out Daigo. That's it.
And here, thankfully, is the final of the mashed voice conversations, and it is short. Amazaki died, by the way. Very sad. That's why Kiryu looks sad. One more cutscene, some R1X. Everybody puts their hands together in a circle or something, I don't actually recall. Now we're going to do some item movement. Very carefully, if I may. Put some of these away. Okay, where's it's this. Akiyama should keep probably those 3 bats. Saejima can give me those. Hanamura is nothing but take all the time. He loves bats. Let me give him... No, I can't give him that one. Oh, he just doesn't have space. Give me this.
You actually managed to have that many bats.
Take this. And... You know what? Give me this and take this as well, I'm sure. That'll be fine. Since I have Kiryu in front of me, I'm going to equip these. And let's drink this uselessly, and let's enter the finale. Let's roll. So now, our 4 characters are going to square off against 4 more characters. It's going to be a fun time. Akiyama, for some reason, does not do the Yakuza series staple of tearing off his shirt and jacket in a single move, but as you saw, Arai did do that, proving he is, perhaps, the cooler of the 2 protagonists. Characters. Arai is not a protagonist whatsoever. Akiyama, if I've been very careful, which I have, should have an abundance of alcohol on his person. We only need 1 can, because of course he does do more damage when drunk. The Arai fight can go somewhat awry. You may laugh. I just thought of that. But I'm going to try to not allow it to do so. Yeah, taunt me, that's good, because I'm going to knock you this way. This wall is the only wall in the arena, in front of me here. The only wall in the arena that juggles, and we want a wall that juggles because we don't want Arai to do an awkward get up where he does it really quickly, because then there's nothing we can do about it. Oops. Just do this. There we go. Yeah, there's multiple QTs we just dodged there. Thank goodness. Skip this, and we will head into here.
Kido drawing the shortest straw. All the villains in this. Oh boy.
A bit of a mismatch, yeah. We've missed it in cutscenes, but Saejima, over multiple cutscenes, has been filling Kido up with purpose, let's say. You know, he's telling him how to live his life. Kido's young, he's a little bit confused. Kido has taken some of his advice, and now we find, of course, thematically at least, Kido and Saejima are at last face to face. So Saejima is going to, one last time, we haven't seen it in cutscenes, of course, say a well-known catchphrase, and we will now say it all together, say it with me. Here it comes. Baseball's out, Kido. It's good that Kido picked up on the baseball fanaticism. It's actually a really healthy hobby. Keeps you active and physically fit. I am proud of the man. So, with that, we will begin by hitting you, ideally. Thank you. And with the hit confirm, of course, we can get into that. Getting some really good knockdowns in this fight. You don't normally. He usually hops back up because there's no walls to juggle him off of. That was a risky move, but I did it anyway. Alright, so I'm running low on heat because I stupidly used that, so what I'm going to do is drink this, use this to cancel his heal, although most of it already took place. And now we're going to let him heal up a second time. Here comes a QTE, which we will fail, because that is, of course, faster. And goodbye, Kido. Our baseballs were superior to his baseballs, as it turned out. Now, we move on to what can be a very tricky little fight. This is Daigo Dojima. We saw his eyes earlier. He's been around this game in cutscenes, doing things. scheming a little bit, trying to make money for the Tojo clan or something to that effect.
俺が登場界という大門の重さ
Kiryu's going to show him what for. Hopefully, there are 2 scary QTEs that we are going to attempt to miss. As he leaps off this building, surely breaking every bone in his body. But no, he will fist hop off of Kiryu, and he'll be perfectly fine. We're going to attempt to knock him back towards that wall, and I'm not going to be too exuberant about it because I want to make sure he gets there. Come over here, sir. And this is the wall we can juggle off of, making it the only safe place to do a series of bad combos. Otherwise, he can get up quickly, and it's very unfortunate, as I said earlier. You want to avoid that if possible. That, I think, was not a safe thing, but he didn't get up, so it's fine. Oh, that's not good.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. I think I failed this? No, there's no... You just have to go through it.
It's
so
the
we're going to
mash,
press
sadly.
X a lot. I'm pressing X. X is being pressed. We're still pressing X. Okay, there we go. We've won the fist war. So we're now going to hopefully hit him as he gets up.
ほらどうした
There we go. Okay.
Nice. Give the second one at least.
Yes, thankfully. Well, with Daigo taken care of, now Tanemura will face off against his one man.
それじゃあ
It'll be a nice even fight,
操作の時の感覚
man versus man.
数十年ぶりに味わってもらいましょうか
It won't. Unfortunately, this man has brought his own baseball team. So, once more, it will be a one versus many. It's an unpleasant fight, but we will give it the old college try. We think we know how to do it.
Hold on.
We hope.
I know baseball. Is that the Mets?
It used to be the case that we would bring a knife to this fight, and we would go into the menu, drink a heat drink, stab a man, go back into the menu, drink a heat drink, stab a man. We would do that repeatedly until all the men were stabbed, and then we would hopefully also stab this man named Munakata. But we don't do that anymore. As with the rest of the run, we use baseball. So too with this. So let's get our baseball bats equipped. I'll make sure to save that one hit for later. I don't need that. What am I doing? We're going to let him run away and use his gun so that we can use a flurry on him. We don't want to hit these men at any point if we can help it. We did. If we take out too many of these guys, they will simply respawn with the QTE. So it's long and gives us more men to kill, which we don't want. Stand still, please. Thank you. Oh, didn't want to do that. Okay. That. Nice of him to wait for us. Okay. And there we go. So now we can safely take care of the rest of the bodyguards without any annoying QTEs. They do like to juke. They love moving out of the way. And they love hitting you. So we're going to attempt to surprise some of them. But what we're actually going to encounter is a lot of misses, because there's really no way to get them down reliably. You're going. Okay. A few more, but the game is reaching its inevitable conclusion. Time is when we take down the final man. Stand still, please. These things do occur. I would like you to stay still. There we go. Get a second guy in the mix-up. This is the guy with all the health, so we would like very much to take him out, which we have done. 2 more. Time will be on this guy falling to the ground. Falling to the ground with a prolonged cutscene, I should say, not this. Time.
GG.
Thank you. And that is Yakuza 4. Tanimura's pretty gassed, as am I. Bit of a long one. It was great fun. I love this run. I like this game. I like the way it's shaping out with bats. It was fun before with all the varied weapons, but, you know, this is what it is, and it allows me to do stupid things like wearing baseball hats. Thank you for having me to GDQ. Thanks, Froob, to coming out. This was great.
Thank you for running this so I didn't have to.
Thank you for showcasing the game and, you know, more of the Yakuza speedrunning game. That was a terrible way. I don't know why I phrased it like that. Let's move along from that. Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for commentary. Y'all did a great job. We do have lots of more Yakuza games coming up, though. I guess before we move on, would either of you like to say anything else?
Froob, do you want to go ahead?
No.
I will simply say...
People are going to be sick of me by the end of the night.
That's fair. I will simply say make sure you stick around for Dead Souls coming up next with Panda. Dead Souls is a surprisingly fantastic game, a little beleaguered in the public eye, but it's great. You should check out the run. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it, so we are going to take a quick break while we get ready for the run, and then we'll be right back with more Yakuza.